What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we are going to be reviewing one of my favorite pistols that has ever crossed this table, and that is going to be the Wilson Combat 1911 9mm CQB. Now, before I do that, I want to mention my patron supporters. It's really appreciated now more than ever because YouTube has demonetized 99% of my content, so I really appreciate your support, and it goes a long way. I also appreciate the support of ammo.com. They're a longtime supporter. I leave a link in the description below for 20 bucks off any order of 200 bucks or more. This is going to be maybe a little bit different than my normal reviews. This is my Wilson Combat CQB right here, and I don't know if you watch this channel much, but I'm a bit of a 1911 fan. A bit, to say the least. They are my favorite type of firearm on the planet for a number of reasons, which we'll get to in this video. But I love this gun so much that I didn't write any notes down or anything, so we're just going to go right off the top of my head with this gun. Now, before I get into the review, I want to mention I did get this gun from Arms & Arms. I did pay for this gun, but I did want to mention them because, man, do they have some awesome customer service. I have done a couple of transactions through them. I ended up going with them for this particular gun because they are a gun shop out of Minnesota that sells a lot of high-end guns. Now, a Wilson Combat, or let's say an Atlas or something like that, would normally take at least 3 months to get, sometimes 6 or even 12 months to get, because basically they're custom shops that make custom guns, so you have to put in an order and then wait your turn. Well, I don't like waiting my turn, so I went to Arms & Arms and I asked them what they have as far as high-end 1911s go, and I've wanted to redeem Wilson Combat for a while because I reviewed a Wilson Combat previously to this gun that didn't do so well. Problem with that is it was also an officer-framed 1911 9mm, which classically can have some issues. So I wanted to try one of their standard government models, so I went with their flagship model, the CQB, and spoiler alert, I was not disappointed. So I appreciate Arms & Arms because they got me this gun within a week instead of waiting a month, and it was actually a little bit cheaper than I would have gotten from Wilson Combat. I think it was right around $28,000 or $3,000. I don't know, I bought it about 6 months ago. Very, very expensive, and certainly not worth it to the average person. However, I shoot a lot, and I mean a lot. 20 to 30,000 rounds a year, somewhere in there, and I've already put 3,000, well, 2,500, something like that through this pistol, so it's certainly worth it to me because, again, I shoot a lot, and I shoot a lot of different guns, so I appreciate the quality when I get it. And this is the most expensive gun I've ever purchased, and I haven't sold it yet, so that's saying something. But let's get into the gun here. This is a Wilson Combat CQB. It is a 5-inch 1911 9mm, chambered 9mm. It's got some dummy rounds in it. It holds 10 plus 1, so 11 rounds, and this gun came with, I think, 2 other magazines, so 3 magazines. It came in this case right here with all this cool nifty stuff you get from Wilson Combat. I don't know if I need to pull all this stuff out, but it comes with a test target. As you can see there, the gun is extremely accurate, guaranteed at 2.5 inches at 50 yards. And all kinds of other stuff that nobody really cares about, but it's nice to have. And it comes with a cool range bag, so if you don't have one of those, you can take it to your local USPSA match or wherever you want to go with it. The 5-inch barrel allows for an extra little bit of sight radius. I know that the common thing now is to go with a shorter slide. A lot of people say in 9mm you want to go with commander frame 1911s. However, I am such a sucker for a large frame gun. I love a full-size gun. My favorite Glock's the 34. My favorite M&P is the 5-inch. You see where I'm going with this. I like a long sight radius, but it doesn't slow me down too much. It may slow you down a little bit because the longer slide takes a little bit longer to track, apparently, and which is cool, but I think a gun's track in something like 0.6 seconds, and I think the fastest person on earth is Jerry Michalek, and I think he shoots about 10 splits. So it's never going to track slow enough for it to bother you. However, it does create a little bit different recoil impulse, and a 1911 is famous for a kind of a long, elongated recoil impulse in the first place because it's got a little bit thicker slide and a little bit longer slide, so it's got kind of a little bit smoother, a little bit longer recoil impulse than something fast like a Taran Tactical Glock 17 or something like that. Now, along with the 5-inch barrel, it's got fiber optic sights on it. It's got these cool custom grips, which I actually changed, came with different grips. If you want to see the original grips, they are just this, but a different color, and they are from my first shots video. I put the extended magazine on it. It comes with a awesome trigger, 25 line per inch checkering, a memory pad on the grip safety, which is a must for me. Very good tactile control, slide release, magazine release, everything works absolutely perfect and feels like butter. The slide feels like grease shit on ice. The whole gun itself, you can tell, was put together by hand. All these guns are hand fitted. You can see the reverse crown barrel there with the two-tone bushing. Looks phenomenal. The whole gun looks amazing. But how does it shoot? Well, let's talk about reliability first, because that is the most important category when we talk about guns, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter how good it works when it does. So reliability was excellent. 2,500 rounds-ish through the pipe, maybe 3,000. I kind of lost count after a while, without a single malfunction. A lot of that was remanufactured ammunition. Some of that was reloads. Some of that was American Eagle. Some of that was my defensive loads. I shot 100 rounds of critical defense through this, because believe it or not, I do occasionally use a 1911 as a home defense or a concealed carry gun. So I wanted to know if it worked or not, and it certainly did. Sometimes, because the 1911 has a big difference between where the magazine goes in and where the feed ramp is, it's a little bit shorter there than some other pistols, certainly more than like an Arsenal Strike 1 or something. Hollow points can give 1911s trouble occasionally, but this I had no problems with. I also use critical defense, which has a little ballistic tip in there, and I think that helps with feeding. Don't quote me on that, but I think so. Regardless, even the remanufactured ammo ran incredibly reliably with this gun, and I was very impressed. No light primer strikes, no stovepipes, so awesome, and one reason why I really like it. I've had guns that were almost as reliable or very close to this, but nothing that was stone cold as reliable as this. Nothing I would trust as far as a 1911 goes more than this gun. Now, durability is absolutely excellent. 1911s have been around a long time, and they'll be around a long time to come. You can find many of these guns that are 60, 70 years old, and they still work fine as long as they're cared for. A steel frame gun will last you a very long time. Now we'll get into accuracy. Holy crap. This might be tied for the most accurate pistol I own. As I said, it's guaranteed 2 inches at 50 yards, and a lot of people use that as a talking point without specifying that you actually have to do that with your own hands and your own eye and your own brain. So some guns can do that mechanically, but the 1911 is really famous for being very shootable. So not only can it do it mechanically, but you are able to get very close with your actual booger hook there. The reason why that is because of the single action trigger in the 1911 is the best trigger in the world. Yep, the best trigger in the world. No doubt about it. It is a single action pull. This one pulls right around 3.5 pounds. Now I know this is meant for defense, not for competition. You can get these done for Wilson Combat all the way down to 2 pounds if you want to, and maybe I will at some point. Hard to say, but right now I'm extremely happy with the 3.5 pound trigger because that's still half of what a Glock is. And not only is it light and crisp, but as you can see there, very, very short. Reset. Very, very short. Now what that allows you to do is shoot incredibly fast and incredibly accurate. Pair that along with these pretty awesome fiber optic sights. I really like the cut off ears of the sight there. It really allows you to focus even more. It really pushes your eyes into the notch and then focuses on the front, so it allows you to shoot just a little bit quicker. This whole design of this sight here is designed solely for defense and solely for you to shoot very quickly up close, and in that it does an amazing job. It lacks just a little bit in long-range precision because it is, even though it looks very thin on camera, it's a little bit thicker than what I'm accustomed to because I usually get custom Dawson precision sights, and I like my sight really thin. But again, every part or accessory ever made from the 1911 is available, so I could just as easily get a $40 front sight and put it in there if I want to, but it's been more than good enough, so I haven't bothered to change it so far. Now, accuracy is amazing, but how is the shootability? Well, again, kind of gave it away in the beginning, but it is awesome. It's a 42-ounce gun, so a little bit heavy for carry, but not so bad because the 1911 is a very thin gun. It is single stack. As you can see there, the mag well is all beautifully done. All of it's all blended perfectly, and you can barely tell that this mag well isn't a part of the original gun itself. Even the inside of the magazine well that came with the gun originally, the original 1911, is also beveled just a little bit further, all allowing you to reload so much easier than you would on, let's say, my Rock Island. So a theme with this review is that everything is blended and perfectly done by hand, but the shootability of the gun is absolutely phenomenal. Better than any other 1911 I've had, aside from maybe the Dan Wesson. The Dan Wesson shot really well. Also, if I put this up next to a 1911 9mm Specialist, like a Dan Wesson Specialist, they would shoot very, very similar, and the Specialist is about half the cost of this, so that's something you're going to have to consider. However, I would say the Wilson Combat CQB, at least this model, was a touch more reliable than the Specialist. I think my last Dan Wesson, my Valor, I think I had a Dan Wesson Valor, was 1,500 rounds through it. I think I put through it, and I think I had one failure. And then my Dan Wesson Guardian was 1,000 rounds perfect. So Dan Wessons come very close. They are very close to custom quality, but not quite, and you can buy those readily available as well. So you don't have to spend $3,000 to get very close to this quality, but you have to spend $3,000 to get this exact quality. One of the reasons why the shootability is so awesome is because of the 25 lines per inch checkering and the aggressive grips. It's a perfect mix. It's not like silicone carbide, which I really like, but it's a little too grippy, so if you get on your draw and you get a little bit off right or left, it's too grippy to adjust. And it's not like grip tape where it can fall off, and it's not like stippling, which doesn't have quite enough aggressiveness to it, I should say, and it also can wear off. This 25 lines per inch and these grip panels are the best texture that you're ever going to get on a handgun. That's why I get a very similar setup on my CZ Shadow, and I'll have a very similar setup on 2011 I plan on ordering soon. The checkering with the G10 grips is absolutely perfect. The perfect amount of grip that you can get with your handgun, and the 1911 is also the perfect grip on a handgun in my personal opinion, but I'm a little bit biased. I do love the 1911. I said that in the beginning. It is the first handgun I ever shot, the first handgun I ever owned, and it was my dad's favorite handgun, and it's America's favorite handgun. But aside from that, the grip feels great. The magazine release works really well. You can see here, slide release, everything, or the slide works really well. Sights work really well. Trigger is extremely nice. I can't say enough good things about it. There is not a single thing wrong with it aside from the price, which is an enormous amount, $3,000, which is a huge amount to pay for any gun. I totally understand that. You can get 6 to 7 quality guns for that price. I'll have so many people talking about how many high points they could buy with this. The reality is you can't shoot 10 high points at once because you don't have 10 hands. And if you could shoot, let's say you could shoot 5 maybe, 2 with each hand, 2 with each foot. Maybe if you get lucky, you might be able to pull the trigger with your dick. Regardless, the gun itself will perform better than almost any other handgun ever made. It's going to be more accurate. It's going to be more shootable. The only 2 downsides are that it's incredibly expensive. And of course, the 10-round magazine is kind of a bitch. But if you don't like that, you can always go with a custom 2011 and have all the advantages of this and have a double stack magazine, which is probably going to be the next very expensive gun I order. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help at your local homeless shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.
Yep.
Well, that's it. I grabbed my phone instead of a mag.